Hey, what's up? My name is Nelson, and today I'm going to be continuing my Halloween special in the midst of Halloween Kills coming out this weekend, Halloween 2018. Laurie Strode comes to her final confrontation with Michael Myers, the masked figure who has haunted her since she narrowly escaped his killing spree on Halloween night 4 decades ago. Alright, so I love the setting of this movie and how and just the way it looks. It looks very, very Halloween-y, and it really gets you into the spirit. And that is a big thing for me when it comes to horror films, especially ones set in Halloween. I really, really love when they look very like it's fall. The leaves are falling and all that. I absolutely love that. In this movie, honestly, it is one of the best Halloween movies. It is one of the best at it in all the Halloween franchise for me. I love how the storyline kicks off. I honestly, I loved what they did in the fourth one. I really did. I loved what they did in the fourth one. And I would have loved them to continue it, but they kind of messed it up in the fifth one. And honestly, love the sixth one. I'm in the small company of loving the sixth one and just loving Paul Rudd's overacting. But I get that a lot of people don't like that, and that just didn't work. Then I really, really love Halloween H2O. Halloween H2O is my second favorite Halloween. And I felt that really, really set up something great. But then it was all screwed up with Halloween Resurrection, the worst installment of Halloween. Out of all of them. Worse than the two Rob Zombie movies, which I do like, the first one a little. Halloween Resurrection was a big, big mess. And I feel like it really did ruin the franchise and had to give it to Rob Zombie to do something with it. And what Rob Zombie did in the first one, it did work for the most part. But what he did in the second one, again, it got screwed up, with the white horse and Michael following his seeing his mother, the ghost of his mother with the white horse. It gives an explanation in the beginning. Wasn't good enough for me. But this one, I really love how they brought it back to the beginning, and it's been 40 years since the infamous first one. That I love how they did that, and the way Laurie is just completely destroyed for it. It's really sad in this movie how it's done like that, but I just love how they did this, and it really sets up something very, very great. If they can keep going with what they are doing, what they did in the 2018 one. This is going to be a complete spoiler review. I'm just going to talk about it, so here's your warning. This is a spoilery review, spoiler talk. But I love the beginning of this movie when it shows the two journalists from England, and how they're coming to Haddonfield to try to figure out more about Michael, to uncover the mystery, because there hasn't been a whole lot. We know what we know from the first one, and that's all we know. And I really like that dynamic, and how they really don't understand what they're getting into, and they don't understand the story of Michael, and how could you? You kind of had to be there, really. But I love how when they're at the facility where Michael's at, Dr. Sartain is telling them, hey, stay, they get into that area where all the patients are outside, and they're all very relaxed when they first get there, and I really like that. And then just the checkered board where they're all standing, they're all chained, and there's boxes all around them so you know where to step. They want to meet Michael, the two journalists. They want to meet Michael. They want to try to talk to him. But they get there, and he says, stay within the box. Don't come any closer, please. and he's trying to make them understand, that he is just completely messed up, and if you do get close enough to him, he will kill you. So they, and I love the atmosphere of it, how they're on the floor, they're hooked to, they're all chained to. It's like a checkered board, and it's red and white. Just the coloring of that, and it just feels very chilling and very out there with it. And they get there, and everyone's real quiet. It's real, all the patients are real quiet. And again, he has the infamous mask that he was wearing in 1978. And he takes it out, and he says, "Michael, you can feel this, can't you? You can feel what I have in my hand. You can sense it." And all of the patients start screaming and yelling. And it's just so chilling. And that's when the movie starts. They go, and they want to talk to Laurie to try to figure out more from her, too. And they get there, and they show up, and her whole place is gated off. You can tell she hasn't opened the gate for a really long time. And, they give her money, and she lets them in, and they go to talk to her. The journalist, the guy, Aaron, he asked her, "Do you believe in the boogeyman?" And she says, "Do you?" And he says, "I believe in Michael Myers. I believe in the deranged serial killer." She just says, "Hey, you should believe in the boogeyman." And just that line, the first time I seen this, it sent chills up my spine. Just letting you know just how messed up Michael is and how messed up Laurie is over it. And again, it's so sad. And Jamie Lee Curtis she just immediately gets back into that role and just completely tears it up. And honestly, in this one, I do like H2O better, but in this one, I really feel like her being so screwed up over what Michael did in 1978 is a little more well done in this one. I would have to say that is one way it is better. But you meet the family. You meet Laurie's family. You meet Laurie's daughter, Karen, played by Judy Greer. Her granddaughter, Allison, played by Andy Matichak. And her dad, played by Toby Huss. And everybody, for the most part, everybody does play those characters very well. And I like how it gets it set up to know how, she wants her grandmother to come to dinner with them and all that. And just to know how they feel about her mother and how Karen was treated as a child because of what happened, and how her mom always tried to prepare her, and how that kind of messed up her childhood a little bit, and she did end up losing her and all that. And it just shows again how sad it really is for Laurie, and just how bad I feel for her watching this. And you meet the friends of Allison, and honestly, these are probably my favorite friends of my favorite friends in a Halloween movie. You got the boyfriend played by Dylan Arnold, his friend played by Drew Schreed, and then there's another couple who are probably one of my two favorite characters in this entire movie. Vicky, played by Virginia Gardner, and Dave, played by Miles Robbins. I really loved I love all of those characters quite a bit. It shows Laurie, going back to Laurie, it shows her just, like I said, she's completely prepared for Michael, because she knows one day he's going to get out, and she's got all these traps in her house and all these guns and stuff. I really liked kind of the trap setup. I mean, that's just good set design. Just showing how this stuff could, the bars, she hits a button and bars go down on the doors and stuff. I really, really did love that quite a bit. And you hear the journalist are listening. It goes back to the journalist, and you hear them listening to Dr. Loomis talking. And just saying how Michael just needs to die. He does not need to live anymore. And that was really, really cool just to hear Dr. Loomis's voice. I really loved that part. But then we come to the bus crash. Michael is being transported, and that's the reason why Laurie's so upset. And you see her watching the bus go by, and just she's sitting in her truck, and she's just terrified at what could happen. And of course, the bus crashes. Obviously, we wouldn't have a movie if the bus didn't crash. But a son and his father, they're out, I think, hunting like raccoon or something. It's dark out. And they see all of the patients everywhere. And the dad goes and checks it out and leaves the boy in the car. And he's like, be careful, Dad. And, he ends up, some things happen. He ends up shooting Dr. Sartain. And he doesn't die or nothing, but he comes back into the car and, he tells him, the one cop is all beat up and he tells him to run. And he gets in the car. He can't find his dad anywhere and he gets in the car and tries to leave. And I don't remember, I could be wrong. I don't remember Michael ever killing a kid, but I remember seeing this for the first time. I did see this by myself in theaters for the first time on Halloween in 2018. Just because I try to go watch a movie by myself every Halloween when it doesn't land on the weekend, because I usually go with, friends or whatever if it's on the weekend. But if it's on a weekday, I usually try to hit up a movie by myself. But I went and saw this by myself, and I just remember just like, whoa, okay, that's what this is going to be about. And it really sets up for how brutal this is going to be. But that kill alone, though, it felt very classic Michael Myers hiding in the back. And honestly, I love all these callbacks in this movie. There is a lot of callbacks, and I know that's a lot of problems with the movie for people, but I really love the callbacks. Like, there's just slight callbacks to the way he kills and stuff like that, and just really, really well done. But he does end up, it gets to a scene, we go back to the reporters again, and they stop at a gas station, and Michael pulls up in that truck, and he obviously has to get his, he has to get his overalls, so he kills a mechanic. Obviously, the journalists, they have his mask. So he sees them, of course, and there's a bathroom scene that is just so brutal. The girl goes to the bathroom, and he has all the teeth from the mechanic, and he takes it over the bathroom stall and just starts dropping the teeth. It's just so messed up. And just that whole scene, the guy, Aaron, tries to come in and save Dinah, and, Michael definitely kills both of them, gets his mask back, and that's kind of how he got his mask back. I'm not complaining, but it is a lot of steps just for him to get his mask back, but I did like it. It was a great scene. Very brutal, very messed up, but... And I love, before he gets the mask, how you almost see his face a few times, but it never directly shows his face. It shows, the side of his face with his eye closed, so you can't really see his features. And honestly, I thought that was really cool, because you kind of want to see his face, but in the long run, I definitely don't want to see Michael's face. That makes it less scary for me to see a normal person's face. But he puts that mask on, and you see that shot of him wearing the mask the first time, and that mask is hands down. I love the Rob Zombie mask. That's probably my second favorite. Or third. The Rob Zombie mask and the 1978 mask are kind of tied for me. But this is the best Michael Myers mask. I love how it looks so old because it's supposed to be the mask from 1978. And it looks spot on to the 1978 movie. And it was just so well done. And it just looks so perfect. And he kind of just starts walking through town with all the trick-or-treaters with his costume on. And that takes us to him just kind of mowing through people and going into houses. And he goes into I love the scene. He looks into the glass, and you can see Michael's reflection through the glass, and he's watching this woman talking on the phone. And you see his reflection, and the camera just stays on the window because the woman's, in the room. Michael goes into the house, and he kills her. And the way it's just, oh man, it sticks with you for a while. It's so brutal. And that brings me to the CGI in this movie. There's very little CGI used, but every time they use CGI in this, I think they tried to use mostly practical effects throughout this, but the little tiny bit they used CGI was very, very tasteful and very well done. And then that brings me to Allison's friend, Vicky, is babysitting this little boy, Julian, and he is just... He adds a little bit of comedy relief throughout this movie, and it is just, this whole scene, the connection between those two characters is just so sweet. She's talking about smoking, and he's, Mom, I'm going to tell my parents and all that, and I just love that relationship, and that kid's just so funny. He's, like, cussing and stuff, and a little kid cussing can get annoying, but it's done very well in this, and it comes off as very, very funny to me. But I love that kid so much, which is so sad when she does die. It's very terrifying. It's a very terrifying scene, and I like how Michael puts the sheet on her after he kills her. It's so a nice callback. Like I said, there's a lot of callbacks in this. It is a very nice callback. But how did he find the time to put holes in the sheet? I don't know. But... Michael obviously ends up killing Dave and her, and it's all that. It's actually a pretty sad scene because I do like both those characters. Like I said, they're one of my favorite characters in the movie. They're both very funny, and, their introduction stuff's really, really great. But, Lori, when she finds out that Michael has escaped, and she was ready, and she tells the sheriff in the town, Officer Hawkins, she prays every single day that Michael would get out, and he's like, why would you pray for something like that? What is wrong with you? And she's like, it's so I could kill him. And he's like, that's just not something that you should have been praying for, because he's so terrified. It's very, very well done. But meanwhile, all this stuff is happening, and Allison and her boyfriend are at the dance, and there's a bit of dynamic with that and how they kind of are going through a little bit of rough stuff. He kisses a girl and all that, but there is a scene when she gets in a fight with her boyfriend, and she ends up with his friend Oscar. Or there's a scene where they're walking through this person's lawn, trying to cut through so they don't have to walk down the road, and he ends up trying to kiss Allison. Allison leaves, she's all pissed off, and she leaves, and he thinks that it's the owner of the lawn that he's walking through. And he's like, hey man, he's all drunk, and he's like, hey man, I'm not trying to trespass, and he's like, oh, I'm leaving, and then, he starts asking him, you ever wanted a girl so bad, and you just couldn't have her? And I just thought, I love that, because it's like, because Michael's always wanted to kill Lori, and he'd never been able to. That was just perfect question for Michael. But he ends up, obviously killing Oscar, and he's got, those fence with the pointy tops. Like, picks him up and just right through here. And then Allison, she comes back and she sees what happened, and she notices, oh, it is Michael. Oh crap, I gotta go. And Michael Myers is here. And that's when she notices, she runs away and screams. It's a really, really great scene. Probably the best kill of the entire movie. And, Allison ends up actually getting in the car with Officer Hawkins. He's with the doctor, and they're driving down the road, and they see Michael, and Officer Hawkins just hits Michael with the car, and he's laying on the ground, and Officer Hawkins, he's like, I'm gonna end this. This is done. I'm just gonna shoot him in the face. And he's like, and the doctor's just yelling. Dr. Sartain is just yelling at him, and don't kill him, don't kill him. And he's like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. And really intense scene. And that's when the doctor just takes out a scalpel thing. He takes out this sharp weapon. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, and he just stabs him right in the throat. It's just such a surprising scene when he's like, I want to get into the mind. He's obsessed with getting into the mind of Michael Myers and the mind of a deranged serial killer. Such a chilling scene. And Allison is just stuck in the back of this cop car. You can't open up the cop car. You can't open up the back doors. And she's just stuck in there just watching all of this. And everybody's laying on the ground, and the doctor puts on Michael's mask and slowly comes up. And then he throws Michael in the car with her, right in the back seat with her. It's just so terrifying. And, they start driving down the road, and then Michael does end up killing the doctor, and he just smashes his head with his boot in, and you just see his head splatter. It's just gore candy like crazy. I loved it. Again, one of the best kills in the movie. I still think Oscar's is the best, but that was great. He had it coming, so he was awful. The camera work in this movie is also really, really, really well done. I just really love just the camera movements, and it really invokes the 1978 one a lot. I really, really respect that. And, you get back to the house, you get back to Laurie's house, and the dad's just kind of playing with a yo-yo. And while he can't find his daughter. I'm going to get to that when I get to my negatives for the movie. But Michael kills him, seeing that coming. And Michael ends up coming in the house. He ends up getting, he ends up, being there at Laurie's house. Gets into the house, and she's got all those trap doors and stuff, and she starts using them to try to trap Michael in when he finally breaks into the house. After she blows his finger off with a shotgun. Really great CGI again. Really, really great scene. But, she's trying to trap him, and Michael ends up throwing her off the balcony in the house. And he sees her laying down, and he looks away. She sees her laying in the grass, and he looks away for a second and looks back, and she's gone. It's just like the end of the 1978 one. And again, another callback that is awesome. And eventually, Laurie gets back into the house. Allison and Karen are down in the bunker that she has. And she's got a gun, and she's holding a gun, and she's real scared, and she has, Karen's real scared, and she tells Allison to grab a gun, and, they're standing there, and they got, they're getting ready for Michael, and he's trying to find him everywhere, and he finally, she's got like this hidden little thing, and he kind of finally throws it over, breaks the shelf off. It's like a little hidden, nook that kind of moves. And he rips it off, and it goes flying across the room, and it is like the first time you see Michael's strength. But she's saying, "Oh, Mom, I can't do it, and she's all scared. The best scene of the entire movie. Karen's, acting all scared. I can't do it, Mom, I can't do it. And Laurie's, yeah, you can. And then that's when Michael shows himself. And she shoots him, and he falls down the stairs. They get back up, and they trap him in there. And meanwhile, she has all this gas that starts filling up the house. And it starts filling up the basement. And she lights it up. And then she starts burning Michael. And that's when she gets into a truck that's on the side of the road, and they start driving on the road, and that's the end of the movie. Really, really great ending. I love the ending of this movie a lot. But I gotta get into my nitpicks. I do have actually quite a few. I love this movie, but I do have quite a few nitpicks. From beginning to end, I cannot stand the dad. Toby Huss is a great actor. I mean, especially in Cop Shop this year. Such a great actor. I love him in that movie. I hate his character and how they wrote it's the writing, because he's great in this movie. It's the writing for his character. It's freaking horrible. He's annoying from the beginning. He's talking about peanut butter being on his penis and stuff, and he's trying to kill these mice, and then his daughter's missing, and he's playing with a freaking yo-yo. Like, come on. I'm just like, what? I was so glad when he was just dead. I was like, thank God, finally he's dead. But just such a horrible character. And then the whole thing with Allison and her boyfriend, I just felt like it kind of bogged the movie down quite a bit. Just the whole thing, how I would have been fine with them going to the dance. Just the whole thing with them, him kissing another girl, and I just felt like it was like another movie. Just felt like it just wasn't warranted for this movie. I just found myself bored every time we came to them until they do split off. And it's just her and Oscar. Obviously I said I love that scene, but it's just, I thought it really, really bogged the movie down a lot. And then there is a scene with these two cops right before Michael kills the doctor. They're like eating dinner, and they're talking about what they're eating. I don't even want to get into it. It's such a dumb scene. It does nothing at all for the movie. It's supposed to be for comedy, and it doesn't make anybody laugh. And I couldn't stand that. But that's pretty much all that I don't like about this movie. I just felt like there was a few things that just didn't need to be in this movie. And that was pretty much it. This is spot on, just one of the best slasher movies in years. You got this one and Freaky. Let me know down in the comments if there's any other slasher movies that are really, really great that have come out. I mean, Malignant's kind of a slasher movie, and I like that quite a bit. But this was great, and if they can continue with what they did in Halloween Kills, which I think they can, we could have something really, really great. And for my score for this movie, I give it an 83%. Like I said, I like it a lot. That third act is one of the best third acts in any of the Halloween franchise yet. If you like what I'm doing on this channel, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at NelsonReviews. Follow me on Letterboxd at Nelson48. Peace out.